Some parents told me that their kids still don't know Kaylee has died because those parents are still too shaken up to tell them. Others are looking to counseling for their kids. Everyone I spoke to is still grieving at the loss of the 11-year-old who loved to whistle. We are on North Shore Road between Echo Bay and Overton, and you can see here that authorities have this entire road blocked off. We went over some of the safety features that were added to this area. For example, take a look here. Now there's warning lights, so when you press this, you can see that these lights give cars an indication that someone is crossing the street. We spoke to the mother of one of the victims. She says that alcohol played a role in this crash that took place right here in this open desert. Good evening, Jessica. That is what they say, but change could only happen if the teachers union agrees to it. You're walking out the door with this guy. You guys are walking where? Look at this abandoned car, these abandoned shopping carts. Parents say this incident happened right behind these doors here at Wilhelm Elementary School in a 4th grade classroom. He's helped design hundreds of stamps in the past, and get this, he says something like this has happened before. There are two things to consider. First of all, we've got to talk about the time of morning where this happened. It was dark just like this, and it actually happened right around here according to witnesses. So it was very hard to see because it was very dark, but also the witnesses that we spoke to actually saw this entire incident occur from across the street on a 2nd-story balcony. So the big question tonight is, did they have enough of a view to accurately make the claims? Well, you're saying this happened right here where we stand? Right.
The vehicle was about right here.
Right.
And there was probably 4 cop cars, a K-9 unit.
To get a better understanding of what happened early Saturday morning, we asked Barry Sandroff to go over every detail of what he saw when police encountered this alleged car thief who wouldn't give up. He told us he saw the whole thing go down on his balcony from his apartment across the street.
I saw her going up with her hands for surrender, and when she got out of the car, she went to put her hands up like she was surrendering, and then the police just went off, just started shooting away.
Did they yell, "Drop your weapon"?
No, there was no put down the weapon, put down the weapon. As soon as she took her 2nd step out of the vehicle, they just started firing.
But police tell an entirely different story. In this release to the media, they describe the entire scenario as beginning with a 911 call where a caller reported a car stolen by someone the caller knew. Police say when they encountered the alleged thief, she barricaded herself in the car and would not obey commands to come out. Police responding by calling in SWAT and crisis negotiators to try to defuse the situation, but it was only after she pointed a gun at officers that 5 of them fired, killing her. Another woman spoke to News 3 even earlier in the day. She said the woman never reached for a weapon.
You could see that her hands were still on her head as she was exiting out of the car.
And you say she didn't have a gun in her hand?
No, there was nothing that I saw in her hand at all.
Sandroff said what was the most shocking to him was how police officers responded just seconds after the shooting.
I seen several officers laughing, kind of high-fiving like a home run, hitting a home run, and they're outside the dugout congratulating everybody. And here's a dead woman in the middle, a woman dying, and their CPR, and officers were laughing.
I spoke to Mia's mom this evening. We went over some of the safety features that were added to this area. For example, take a look here. Now there's warning lights. So when you press this, you can see that these lights give cars an indication that someone is crossing the street. Despite that, when we had that interview with her earlier, we learned that a lot more needs to be done. This is kind of the handiwork that came from such a tough tragedy.
Yes, it took, unfortunately, our daughter passing away for people to really realize that this area is a problem.
After months of mourning the loss of little Mia Decker, her mom, Michelle Terry, along with this close-knit North Las Vegas community, raised money to install these extra signs and these flashing lights, the hopes that the tragic accident that took Mia's life would never happen again. All right, so let's try this.
All right.
This is good. This is good to see these people stopping, isn't it?
Except for you!
Oh my gosh, even still.
Wow!
What just happened, almost too emotional to bear. Mia's mother, her sister, and myself hit the newly designed crosswalk. We began crossing, and in the exact same lane and fashion as her little daughter got hit and killed, a truck sped past 3 other stopped cars. If we had been just feet ahead, we would have been hit.
Am I right? Isn't that the same lane where she ran? What we just saw was almost the exact scenario.
It was the same lane. Yep. Yeah. And I've had this very, very often. This has happened over here to me.
Yeah.
And usually it's the same lane, and that's the part that scares me.
Yeah, because the people on the other side stopped, just like they did with your daughter, and that one person just kept going.
So while there could be anger, frustration, or even rage, instead, there was just this heart-clenching, somber sadness. Because on the day when Mia Decker's legacy was remembered with steps towards caution, front and center, we saw there is still much more work ahead.
You know, you've seen on the news constantly that somebody is getting hit, they're not dying, or sadly they're passing away, and those are things you never want to have to read about, because it makes you, as a parent that this has already happened to, you relive it all over again.
Here is the living room.
Dolores Lowry is in jeopardy of losing her home.
This is where everybody be at.
She says she got sick, couldn't do her job, and missed some house payments.
The only income I had coming in was my Social Security, and so I got behind. They say if I if I miss a payment during those 3 months agreement, they would do a foreclosure.
This house is more than just a shelter to Dolores. It's also a reminder, perhaps a memorial, after a devastating loss.
At Christmas time and all of that, she used to come up and put up the Christmas decoration.
Years ago, just a few miles from here, Dolores' daughter was murdered.
Somebody came in and assassinated Shonda.
She took her daughter's life insurance money and made a down payment on this house.
I did use the money from her death to purchase the house. And if I lose the house, it's just like losing her all over again.
So in a lot of ways, now it's like a waiting game, working to make every payment on time, hoping that a foreclosure notice doesn't come in the mail. Like Dolores, Acorn says many other people need a break. They're calling for a 90-day moratorium on foreclosures.
If people have more time to work out an option to save their home, then we'd be able to keep people in their homes.
And while these folks demonstrate, Dolores waits.
It's really hard.
She says she is waiting for more affordable payments. Reporting in Durham, Paul Matadeen, NBC 17 News. That is what they say, but change could only happen if the teachers union agrees to it. The question here is some $2 million, an appropriate price to give teachers a fair review. Just about a week ago, we met both of these families who say it was not administrators, but their kids who told them a substitute teacher had harassed them in class.
I saw him pull my friend around by the skin on the neck.
More than a week later, those parents got this letter saying the sub wouldn't teach at the school again. But they were still mad because they say the school's response took too long. So we asked CCSD why the delay.
Whenever you're being entrusted with a parent's most precious resource, their children, every minute is going to count. With that being said, we owe it to our employees to thoroughly investigate any situation.
So we asked the even deeper questions and learned from CCSD that it's part of a teacher's contract negotiated by their union to bring in an arbitrator when something serious goes wrong.
And so even if something is incredibly egregious, we only have the power to recommend that they be dismissed.
Amanda Fulkerson with the district says there are usually 300 to 400 reviews going on at any given time. Many of the teachers out of the classroom, but still getting a paycheck through the process. It's one that school leaders say costs taxpayers millions.
It's safe to say that it's not the best use of our funds, and we are moving forward, looking at better ways to hire and retain the talent that works with our students.
Ruben Murillo, who's the president of our local teachers union, points out teachers with criminal cases against them usually do not get paid as part of the negotiated rules. But for the hundreds of others,
everybody has a right to due process, to get a fair hearing to find out, is it true or is it not?
Murillo says many accusations turn out to be false, justifying the need for the type of arbitration. But we asked him if he was open to negotiating a more efficient system to save money.
We are willing to work with the district, and we have suggested to them ways to quicken the process without sacrificing due process.
What has been their response?
Well, we're waiting for it.